Okay, so I'm here with Morgan Long again. We're going to talk about framing. In my opinion, I think framing is the most important, most critical thing that a catcher can do because you do it pretty much on every received pitch. Blocking, important, yes, but it doesn't happen nearly as often as framing, and throwing for that matter. As you get older, you might have to throw couple times a game at most, because when you're younger, girls steal all the time and you're kind of throwing the ball all over as girls are learning the game. But as you get older, throwing becomes less and less significant. But framing is something, no matter if you're young, old, whatever, you help your pitcher out. You're dealing with a 17-inch plate. If you can add a few inches on either side of that plate by being a good receiver and a good framer, you basically can increase your pitcher's success rate on strikes by 20 to 30%, depending on how good you are. And so any pitcher would want to get 20 to 30% more strikes. Definitely changes the game. So what we try to teach on framing, there's a couple different ways you can do it. So what we try to do is we do a shift behind the ball. Now, there are some people that don't teach this way, and they teach another way, and that's fine, to each their own. But I think for the purpose of softball and girls being athletic and kind of the way that the ball moves as opposed to the way that a baseball moves, I feel the shift is just better. That's my opinion. But again, there's hundreds of flavors of ice cream, so that's just the way it works. But for this purpose, we're going to go ahead and teach the shift. So what we want to make sure that we're always doing is we're shifting behind the ball. So if you're down in your squat and the ball's inside pitch, Morgan's going to receive it and she's going to shift. What we always want her doing is we want her keeping her eyes behind the ball, and we want to keep the ball inside of her frame. Because one of the things that, even if the ball's a strike and Morgan doesn't shift, she stays over here, a lot of umpires won't give you that because she's catching it outside of her frame. And so we want just a really slight shift so that she catches it within her frame, eyes behind ball. Now we call it framing because your hand is always going to be on the outside of the ball. So when she catches it, when she catches this ball, the ball is always going to be inside. So if she catches this ball, it's going to be inside. You catch a high one, ball's going to be on top. And you're always going to catch with your U. So you're trying to catch the ball fingers on the outside of the strike zone, in between your thumb and your pointer finger. If you go outside, same thing. So fingertips are on the outside of the ball, and you're catching it inside of your thumb and your pointer finger. Now, on the low pitch, what we're trying to do is trying to punch the thumb to bring it up. If you can get a couple inches on that low pitch, you're going to really help your pitcher out. And so, easiest way for me to frame is, or for me to teach framing, is to do it. And so, I would suggest getting as many different kinds of balls as you can. And the catcher and the size of their hand is going to vary. And so the bigger their hand, the stronger they are, the bigger ball you can use. And so I would always start without a mitt, because if you can frame without a mitt and develop a firm, strong wrist and hand where you're sticking the pitches, because the last thing we want your hand to do is trail outside. So say the ball's moving this way and Morgan catches it, we don't want the ball to trail outside of the strike zone. We want her to stick it wherever that ball is, stick it inside that zone so that it doesn't move. And so, good way to develop good hand strength and coordination, and so you're not trailing as using different balls. So I've got some tennis balls here. I've got some of these squishy weighted balls. This one's 21 ounces. This one's only 7 ounces. And so we'll start with the easiest ones first. So tennis balls are great because they're bouncy. Like if you can catch that and it tries to bounce out of your hand, it's really good. And so we'll start with the red ones. What we'll usually do at first is just work a zone. So we'll work in. We'll work going in. And so I'll throw her some balls and she'll shift over and get behind it. And so that's this ball. Then we'll go tennis ball. Boom. Again. Boom. And she's just being really quiet. One of the things that you can also do is if you have like those soccer cones, because you want a super quiet head, is you can put one of those soccer cones on top of the catcher's head. And the key is if you can keep that soccer cone on top of your head, you got a real quiet movement. Like you're not getting too violent, herky-jerky. Like you want it to be smooth. You want there to be a rhythm to it. You want it to be kind of a quiet, subtle movement. Because anytime a catcher has to make like a quick or violent movement, you're kind of mentally coaxing that umpire into calling it a ball. And so you want to stay kind of calm, quiet, nice, like easy rhythmic move. So the last one is this blue heavy one. Boom, that was up, my fault. Do inside, boom. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is the outside pitches. Outside on a right-handed batter. And so I'll do the same thing. I'll start with the red ball. I'll throw her a bunch. She's gonna get, we call it getting around the ball. You wanna get around it so that your hand is on the outside and you're framing it up real nice. Boom. Do it again. We'll go to tennis ball. Boom. Every time, real nice and subtle. There you go. Boom. And then we'll go end with the big heavy ball. Boom. Okay, now we're going to do the up ball. So on an up ball, you just want to keep your fingertips on top of it. Make sure that you're trying to get a couple inches on the top end of the zone. So we'll start with this one. Boom. Oh, we had a streak going.
We did.
There we go. Okay, we're going to go tennis ball. Bam. And then we'll go to the big heavy blue ball. And you want to stick it. You don't want your hand moving. There you go, just like that, every time. Now we're going to go low ball. This is actually the hardest one to learn. It definitely requires like really strong wrists. And remember, you're thinking about kind of just punching your thumb out and lifting that ball a couple inches. So we'll start with the red ball here. And I would actually recommend even starting your glove low, because hopefully you're expecting the low pitch when this is coming. So you're going to start with kind of a low target. Boom. Punch that thumb out. That was a great job, Morgan. There you go. Now we're going to go tennis ball. Oh, that was a strike. There you go. Good job. Oh, strike again. I'm just too good. I'm a batting practice pitcher. There we go. Okay, here we go. We'll go with blue ball. This one's hard. Boom. Boom. And that's great. So then what you can do is you can progress. And after you go through a series of these, which you can do kind of anywhere, do them in your house, you can do them in your yard, you can do them at the field, you can do it as a warm-up to get catchers really good soft hands and focus before games. You can also do this with live balls in a mitt pen. And at that point, you can have a pitcher pitch. I would always recommend that a catcher, even if they're catching bullpens with their pitchers, frame every ball. Like that's a good time to practice. Like literally stick them, move, get your legs in shape. Like if you're there and you've got kind of bad body posture and you're not really sticking those pitches, how you practice is how you're going to play in the game. So I would definitely focus on doing that. The other thing that you can do is if you have a training facility with a machine, because it can throw right to one spot every single time, is practice. Practice if you're I think Morgan was always really good outside, really good high, actually pretty good low. She struggled on the inside pitch, like kind of getting around it at one point. And so we would just take a pitching machine and kind of fire them on the inside and she kind of work through it. But any of those are available to frame. And again, most important thing you do, you have to have really good strong legs because you have to have that nice little subtle shift when you're doing it. But make sure, the other thing is when you stick a pitch, You don't want to hold it too long, and you don't want to move it too quick. And so the appropriate amount, here, we'll just throw one really quick.
What side?
I'll go in. Is bam, right there. And so she gave that umpire kind of a brief second, because that umpire is going to be sitting over one shoulder or the other. She's giving him just a brief second, and she's not trying to show him up by holding it out there for 3, 4, 5 seconds, but she's giving him kind of a quick 1.5 count to take a look at that pitch so that it registers in his brain and it's like, yep, that's a strike. And so the other thing to do is be confident as a catcher. You want to get your pitcher more strikes, pretend it was a strike. Like as soon as they throw a marginal pitch that you just stopped, yell yeah, yell good, yell awesome, say something great to your pitcher, because that's going to coax that umpire into being positive about it too. And so there's different ways about doing that. Like have good body language, have good verbal communication skills about it. Like sell it a little. You're a salesperson back here. You're trying to sell strikes. So that's another thing you can do. But be vocal. Get the umpire on your side. What do you do every game, no matter what?
No matter what. The first thing that you do when you're going behind the plate, first thing you do is you should go up to them, shake their hand, be like, hello, my name's Morgan, and then they'll say hello, their name is someone.
Dan. Yeah. Hello, my name's Dan. I'm umpiring today.
And then you guys already have a good communication line going, and usually umpires are really nice. They'll talk to you throughout the game, and if they do miss a call, usually they're like, oh, don't worry, Morgan, I got the next one. It's all right.
Yeah. And it's okay to talk to them.
Okay.
Always, 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 though, as you're sticking pitches and as you're trying to really work hard for your pitcher, never turn around and talk to them this way. You're talking always as you're looking at your pitcher. You're never trying to show them up in any way. Even if your if your coach is a goofball and yelling, hey, was that a strike? Was that a strike? Like that's kind of not a great thing for your coach to do, because it's putting you in an awkward situation between you and the thing. But there's sometimes to be like, hey, what do we need? Hey, what do we need on that? Like a couple inches here, a couple inches there. And then let the catcher talk to the umpire kind of in a down moment, not when the coach is yelling, where was that? Where was that? That was a strike. Like literally let the catcher handle that relationship to try to earn more strikes over the course of that game. So that would be one recommendation I would make to coaches out there. But outside of that, again, I think framing is the most important thing a catcher can do. It's the thing that they do most often. I think it's the thing that they can do that can change the game more than anything. It definitely will help a pitcher be more successful. And so that's a little demo on framing.